one whose wealth is lost, Eva, like Atura, suffering. Translation. Thus, by the arrangement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the maintainer of kinsmen is put into a hellish condition to suffer for his sinful activities, like a man who has lost his wealth. Purport. The example set herein is that a sinful person suffers just like a man who has lost his wealth. The human form of body is achieved by the conditioned soul after many, many births and is a very valuable asset. Instead of utilizing this life to get liberation, if one uses it simply for the purpose of maintaining his so-called family and therefore performs foolish and unauthorized action, he is compared to a man who has lost his wealth and who, upon losing it, laments. When wealth is lost, there is no use lamenting. As long as there is wealth, one has to utilize it properly and thereby gain eternal profit. It may be argued that when a man leaves his money earned by sinful activities, he also leaves his sinful activities here with his money. But it is especially mentioned herein that by superior arrangement, deve nasaditam, all although the man leaves behind him his sinfully earned money, he carries the effect of it. When a man steals some money, if he is caught and agrees to return it, he is not freed from the criminal punishment. By the law of the state, even though he returns the money, he has to undergo the punishment. Similarly, the money earned by a criminal process may be left by the man when dying, but by superior arrangement, he carries with him the effect, and therefore he has to suffer hellish life. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnantimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतम सावधूतम परिजना सहितम कृष्ण चैतन्य देवम श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी कृष्णभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशकल्पातरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते रामानुजाय Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you for joining this morning's Bhagavad Katha. Some weeks ago, I learned the importance of punctuality and being on time from Jai Prakash Prabhu. He was mentioning, how important time is, and also seeing what our acharyas, especially Srila Prabhupada, He said two things, punctuality and cleanliness. Things should start on time, end on time. And then we also see when it comes to doing pravachan, the seva of sharing Krishna consciousness with an audience, is Jayadvaita Swami. He starts on time and question answers ends on time. Same way when Madhupati Prabhu, his disciple, following in his footsteps, his classes. I'm guilty. I tend to sometimes go over the allotted time, but I'm trying to follow this instruction of punctuality of starting and ending on time. So for today's class, what we're going to be discussing, actually what we're discussing is regarding wealth management. Not this Friday, not tomorrow, but Friday after next, we do this 101 life sutras, Vedic, whatever the Sanatan Dharma teaches us. And Gokul Priya Mata is going to be talking about wealth management. So, what it actually discusses, the Vedas and our Shastras about wealth is summed up in one line: how to earn with integrity and spend with compassion. Earning with integrity and spending with compassion. So this verse I have prepared based on this uh, theme, earning with integrity and spending with compassion. So first, what we see over here, the example, the first line of the purport is man, sinful person who has lost his wealth. Okay, he suffers. Why? Because there's so much attachment. Actually, suffering comes from attachment, the wrong kind of attachment. Of course, we are part of the whole. We need to be attached to something. We have detached ourselves from the whole that we are attached to. And now we're trying to get attached to something else. So we find attachment in all things that give us sensual pleasures. And wealth is the enabler for that sensual. So we are very, very, very attached to our wealth. So when you lose your wealth, it's a huge, um, it's a huge pain. It's a huge shock. And there are so many instances. In fact, here in America, I think it was 1929, when the stock market crashed, and people literally from the skyscrapers, stockbrokers and others, they jumped to their death. They just couldn't handle it. That, oh, all my money is gone. And they just committed suicide. So that's what happens, is we are attached to wealth. We are attached to wealth because wealth is the enabler to give us this sense gratification, though temporary in nature. Sense gratification, why we want? Because we want to be happy. That's who we are. That is our nature, Anandamaya Bhyasat, to be happy. However, all this happiness is temporary. My Gurudev, His Holiness Radhanath Swami, says that happiness is not in what you have, happiness is what you can do without. So the more things that you can do without, huh, you are happier because all those attachments are getting cut off. Incidentally, in economics, there is a concept that money is the universal dissatisfier. Having enough of it doesn't guarantee you happiness, and not having it is a really sad state of affairs. So on both sides, it doesn't guarantee you happiness. That's why it's the universal dissatisfier. But still, money is what everybody is chasing. The king is so beggarly in his desire. Wealthy people, more and more we want, are so beggarly in their desire to get more and more money. And the beggar on the street is like a king. Little bit money he'll get, and oh, he's like, throw his weight around. So this is what happens to people who are attached to wealth. When they loses it, they lose their mind and everything. Yeah. The next point over here is the human form of body is a very valuable asset. Why? Why is the human body? Of course, all living entity is a soul. It's just that the outside form differs, correct? The body of a man, woman, dog, outside my window, I'm seeing such beautiful trees, plants, there are birds. Same Jivatma, what is there in me, 1/10,000th of an part of the hair, that spirit, that spark, that Satchitanand. It's the exact same qualitatively, no difference. But the form differs. And the form which is there, okay, based on the form, the soul is able to uh, execute its desire. The form is nothing but a medium through which the soul can express its desires. That is what the form is for. Now, different forms have different capacities and capabilities. The gross form and the subtle form. Subtle form is mind, intelligence, and false ego. Through that channel, the soul has these desires for sense gratification, and that's what the body enacts. Now, the human form of life is considered to be top of the food chain, as they say, the most valuable asset for two reasons. One is out of millions and trillions of births, repeated cycle of birth and death, you get this life form. And it's only in the human form of life that you can get out of this circle of birth, old age, disease, death. You get the choice, you get the opportunity to go back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. But what do? We get the human form of life and get stuck back in the same old rut, which is sense gratification. And for the sense gratification, it extends. You get married, you have a family, responsibilities, this, that, and all that. So, what is the purpose of human life? To get out of the cycle of birth, old age, disease, death. Instead of that, this whole human life is invested in remaining where we are. Hare Krishna. And all these entrapments of family, etc. So, does it mean that you have a family, you neglect them? No, there is your duty. You have a family, it is your responsibility for their upkeep. But how? How can you manage the upkeep of your family and at the same time get away from the cycle of birth, old age, and death? How there is um, attachment and detachment. It seems a little wordplay and little mind bending. You know, you could be attached to the family in such a way that it is liberating. And that is possible, as how Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj had said, look at the family as Krishna's family and you're the caretaker. Do not have a sense of proprietorship over them. My family, my wife, my child, my this, my that. This is all Krishna's, and you're just the caretaker. That becomes liberating. You don't get caught in that. And whatever there is detached, you're still attached to them. There is still love, but it's of a different and a higher kind. Hare Krishna. Then the next is that there is this popular thing that in Hindi, यहाँ सब कुछ छोड़ के जाने के है, यहाँ सब कुछ छोड़ के जाने के है. There's a very famous kawal. Actually, kawali, a form of music, is by the Sufi saints, and a lot of deep philosophy is there in it. Of course, over a period of time, they made it into romance and glorifying intoxication and things like that. But originally, what it is, so there is this qawwal where it says, "Dhalta suraj धीरे धीरे ढलता है ढल जाएगा खाली हाथ आया है खाली हाथ जाएगा." For those of you who don't speak Hindi, what this means is that the sun, rises and it sets. So this is the ticking time I am, destroyer of all the words. Every day the sun rises and sets. That's what is happening with our life. With every sunset, we're getting closer to death. And you come empty handed. We come literally in this world. When we are birthed, we are empty handed. And you will leave empty handed, no matter what accomplishment, failures, everything. So people mistakenly think that, okay, whatever I've left over here only. However, karma, action reaction, good or bad, is not to the body. It is attached to the soul. So when the soul leaves one body and goes to the other body, karma, it travels on the vehicle of the subtle body, the soul, and gets the new body. Okay, karma travels along. So karma, you can look at it as your cabin bag. You know, that stroller which we carry with us. The big bag which is there is kept somewhere else in the hold. But karma is our cabin bag which we carry along with us as we go through this journey of different birth, old age, disease, and death. Hare Krishna. Now, it comes to this point of how you are a grasti. The grasti ashram is extremely important. In fact, it's also very, very difficult. Again, my Gurudev Radhanath Swami has said, is, for a we are taught, don't have this attachment to material things. Do not uh, indulge in sense gratification. Easier said than done. We are habituated not in these few years that we've been alive, but since time immemorial. It's habit. We are creatures of habit. What can you do, right? For sense gratification. This is what we have. So Maharaj says there's this Varnashra ashram, which is discipline. It disciplines us in this. So you have the Brahmacharya, you have the Grasta, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasi. Now, the Brahmacharya ashram has the responsibility. He carries the Grasta ashram, he carries the weight of the other three ashrams for their upkeep. Now, it is easier for a sannyasi and a brahmachari not to engage because there are those little opportunities. So Guru Maharaj says that, the sense gratification is like an itch. You get a wound and then it starts healing, but it itches during the time it is healing. Now, if you itch it, it's going to scratch. You get it, you scratch it, and it'll get worse, whatever wound that you had over there. But that strong desire is so strong, that feeling is so strong. I have to scratch it. Sense gratification is like that. Now, with brahmacharya, with the discipline, Guru Maharaj says your hands are tied behind. So even if the itching happens, you cannot scratch it. Now, the sannyas, Guru Maharaj, the Vanaprastha ashram, Guru Maharaj says, is that your hands are chopped off. So there's no question of scratching only. So your hands are tied, then it is because Brahmachari has the option that after his Brahmacharya period, he can get into Grasti life. Vanapras, because of age and whatever physical disability, it is not that much possible to scratch, right? But the Grasta ashram has all the opportunities, has all the facilities. So it's a very precarious condition. He has to maintain the other three ashrams and at the same time. So it's very, very difficult. So how does a Grasti stay on the path of pursuing what the goal of life is, as well as, be a grasti and fulfill all the responsibility and obligation he has as the family man? So there are the examples. In fact, one of the Acharya, Bhaktivinoda Thakur Maharaj, he has set an example. He was a grasti. He was a high court magistrate, very, very successful. How did he live his life? So he gave a framework for grastis to practice. So grasti earns money. What Maharaj has said, Thakur Maharaj has said, is that 50% of your earnings is towards spiritual pursuits. You have to use 50% of your earning towards spiritual pursuits. 25% of that earning is towards maintenance of yourself and your family, whatever are these responsibilities, mortgage, college bill, this, that, whatever there is. And the remaining 25% is your savings for any emergencies and for your retirement. That is the formula. Now, if you look at it, it is going to be a shock. 50% of my, of course, there is clarification, is sports tax. So whatever, when you earn something, a major portion is what the government takes with taxes. Post-tax, what is left. Now, if you look at it, is most people, almost all, it will be a huge shock, 50%. How is it possible? 50%. It isn't possible because we have more wants than what we need. If we have this philosophy, easy to say, simple living, high thinking, yeah, if it is simplified, if we are just satisfied with what the needs are, it's very, very easy to do that. We earn much more than what we need. Everybody, whatever be the salary level, whatever be the income group, we earn much more than what we need. But these need, we what we need. But our wants are fantastic. I want this, I want that, this, that. And because all these wants, they're running here and there, we have to keep earning, 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 and earning. So the simple living, high thinking philosophy, when it is put into practice, if we make an inventory of what is it that I actually require, then you see that there is so much of available Lakshmi. And what do you do with it? Now, here Prabhupada has given what it is, yeah, that he can um, uh, do something with permanent gain. If I spend my money for some sense gratificatory, in the end, you're going to leave everything. What is the gain in it? But if you want a real return on the investment, because anything which is a spiritual act is permanent, time doesn't have any effect on it. So there is this formula of 50%. Now, the reason we aren't able to do 50% is number one, because our wants are never ending. And second is the tendency in a material condition of greed. And of course, each devotee does to the capacity he or she can do. There are, actually, ISKCON is one institution which doesn't have any compulsory donation or anything, nothing. Other institutions, there is something called tithing. A certain percentage of your salary, if you want to be a part of that uh, group, you have to donate. And of course, they use it for whatever purposes. There is worship and other things, but you have to donate. It's compulsory. Here, there is nothing compulsory. Whether you give $1 a year, you give $0 a year, or whether you give $100,000 a year, whatever it is, there is no compulsion to what you can give. So when we have this mindset, during Janmashtami and other events, fundraising is done. Fundraising because there are expenses. Okay. But if you put $1 towards a Krishna conscious activity, whether it is with the temple or whether it is in your home, you have home deities, whatever is the Lakshmi required to do the deity seva. Again, your family is Krishna's family. So your child's education, if that is the level of consciousness, is no longer binding. That becomes you're raising a Krishna conscious child. That itself becomes an act of devotion. So 50% of whatever earnings, if we do it in this manner, and if you're honest with ourselves, Prabhu's, Mataji's, that, okay, now the mind will say, yes, 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 I need to get this luxury item because, this is Krishna's family and Krishna's family will be happy. Our family, that is what the mentality is, my family. But I'm using a nice justification by saying, yeah, it is Krishna's family. So this is what you do with money and how money, what is the true purpose of money is earning with integrity. Almost all of us are earning with integrity. Nobody is doing any nefarious, what they say in Hindi, kala dhanda, black market, black money. Almost all are doing that. Uh, and now the question comes is how it is utilized. So at least have this understanding based on, and there are so many examples within and outside our congregation. Krishna Chandra Prabhu, he's a big industrialist, very, very, very wealthy. So simple, such a simple life he lives. Even in our congregation, I don't know if I should take that couple's name. So I won't. I'll be a little cautious, but maybe later on, Madhupati Prabhu or whoever would announce it in a public forum. They are a retired couple and they have donated $150,000. Retired. Please understand retired. Retired means you have a fixed source of income, whatever it is. They have donated 150,000. How is all this possible? What is the level of consciousness of that person? Simple living, high thinking. That is the consciousness. Hare Krishna. So we have 2-3 minutes. If anyone has a comment or a question, please ask it. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Over to you, Madhupati Prabhu.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Amitav. We'd like to wish everybody a safe and Krishna conscious day ahead. And we'd like to offer our prayers to the Supreme Lord by chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Nrsingo Jai Nrsingo Jai Jai Nrsingo Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Pringam Ugraviram Antam Sarvatomukam Nrsiнгam Vishanam Bhadram Nityam Nityam Navamiham Bhagwan ki Jai Prahlad ki Jai. Let's offer our humble obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas. Vanchakalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhu Patitanam Pavane Bhayo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha. Vaishnavinda ki Jai. ग्रंथ श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर प्रेमानंदे,
हरि 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 बोल, हरे कृष्ण. Thank you everybody. Hare Krishna.